Hello, I am Z. And welcome to Z's English Studio. In today's episode, I sharing a really wonderful story. By the end of this story I will change your mind. So, listen carefully until the end. This story is not about a billionaire, not about the founder of Alibaba, but about a skinny, awkward boy from Hangzhou, China, who failed more times than he could count, and still stood up every single time. This is the story of Jack Ma, the poor student who used English not just to change his life, but to change the world. Jack Ma was born in 1964, in a China that had very little connection to the outside world. His family was poor. His parents were musicians, earning just enough to survive. As a child, Jack was curious, but terrible at math and science. He failed his entrance exam to middle school, twice. Later, he failed the college entrance exam, 3 times. He applied to Harvard, 10 times. Rejected, every time. I was not a good student, he says. But I was good at learning from failure. And there was one thing he became obsessed with, something that would eventually open the door to the entire world: English. At just 12 years old, Jack got a second-hand bicycle and started waking up every morning at 5 a.m. He'd ride 45 minutes across the city to a hotel in Hangzhou where Western tourists stayed, not to beg, not to sell anything, just to talk. To practice English. He offered to be their free tour guide, just to learn their language. Can you imagine that? A teenager, riding for hours just to hear how native speakers talked. He did it every day, not for grades, not for school, but for growth. That's where he picked up not only English, but ideas, beliefs, worldviews. It was a language education and life education at the same time. One day, while talking with a tourist, the tourist said, "Your name is difficult for foreigners. Can I call you Jack?" And that's how Ma Yun became Jack Ma. That friendship, and many others, taught him something powerful. English is not just a language. It's a way to connect to the world. It gave him access to books, ideas, and people that changed the way he saw life and business. Let's talk about his failures, because they're part of what makes his story so inspiring. He applied to be a waiter at KFC. 24 people applied. 23 got the job. He didn't. He applied to be a police officer, rejected. He applied for dozens of jobs, rejected. Even when he graduated from university, he was considered average. No one believed in him, except for one person, himself. And here's what he always says: if you don't give up, you still have a chance. Giving up is the greatest failure. In 1995, Jack went to the US as a translator for a government project. There, for the first time in his life, he used the internet. He typed the word beer into a search engine, and saw American, German, Japanese brands, but no Chinese beer. That moment hit him like lightning. The internet is the future, he said. And China is not even on it. That realization, thanks to his English ability and global exposure, sparked a dream. A dream to build an online platform where Chinese businesses could connect with the world. A digital Silk Road. A marketplace, called Alibaba. In 1999, Jack gathered 18 friends in his apartment and pitched his idea. No investors. No programmers. No website, just a vision. And a man who had learned to communicate clearly, passionately, and globally, in English. When Alibaba started, Jack wrote to international buyers himself. He created web pages in English. He pitched to investors, partners, and press in English, when very few CEOs in China could. English gave Jack something beyond vocabulary, global confidence. It allowed him to dream bigger than borders. Even after becoming one of the richest people in Asia, Jack Ma never stopped being a teacher. In fact, he calls himself Teacher Ma. In his speeches, many of which are in English, he tells young people, your job is not to be the best. It's to be the best version of yourself. Don't worry about being successful. Focus on being useful. And most of all, learn English. Not for exams, but to see the world. His language is simple, his delivery is casual, his tone is human. And that's what makes him powerful, not just the billions, but the billions of minds he's influenced with his voice. There are 5 powerful takeaways for any learner. Use your environment. Jack didn't have a language school. He had tourists and curiosity. Be consistent. He practiced English daily, even when it meant riding a bike at 5 a.m. Don't fear rejection. He faced more no's than most of us ever will. Use English as a bridge, not a badge. He didn't want to sound smart. He wanted to build smart things. Speak with heart, whether teaching, selling, or leading. He always sounds like Jack from Hangzhou. Jack Ma didn't become a global icon despite his failures, that he became one because of how he responded to them, that he didn't learn English to pass a test, that he learned it to open doors, to connect, dream, build, from failing student, to failed job applicant, to billionaire teacher, all because he stayed curious, stayed humble, and spoke from the heart, in English. Watch Jack Ma's speeches in English. Take notes, not on what he says, but how he says it. Practice your English with his mindset, not for perfection, but for connection, and remember, you don't need the perfect background. You need the right attitude, because somewhere out there, your story is waiting to be told, just like Jack's.